What is going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel, and this video is a special one because we haven't dabbled into this deck in quite a while, and that is a Runick variant. And I will spoil right away which version it is because you already saw it in the thumbnail and with the title of the video, and that is Runick White Forest BYSTIALS. One of my favorite decks when the White Forest archetype released, and I've did very well with it back in the days. Like about a year ago or so it was, or a little bit longer, even 1.5 years ago. And this was the time where I started winning locals regularly and consistently with this list, with this deck. And of course, since then, there has been a lot of White Forest support that has released. The format changed a bunch. Runick was very bad during the peak of Malice, during the Risia Malice format, also against Detonator. Runick Fountain Giga sucked. But now the format has obviously shifted. The time rules are what really makes it rough for Runick to be successful, but I think at a locals level at least, or even at a regional level, you can have a lot of fun with this deck. And right now, with BYSTIALS actually having some sort of a return into the format, I think this deck can be quite fun. And we'll have a look at it. The side deck is just thrown together. You can basically ignore it. I tested this list a little bit before locals. I played like 5 games or 6 games with it against 2 different decks. Didn't drop a single game and finished them relatively quickly as well, which speaks to the potential of this deck because it is not a Runick stun deck, which is important. It's not like Runick stun where you just try to go for the deck out and maybe make your opponent scoop by frustration, but half of them will take you, drown you into a double loss, and then you don't perform. This is a Runick combo synchro pile, right? So with that being said, let's get into it. At the center and at the heart of this deck are, of course, our Runick cards, and we'll start with our spells here. Running the double Runick Fountain with the beautiful QCR variant, and all of the good Runick spells at 3 basically. 3 tip, 3 destruction, 3 freezing curses, and 3 copies flashing fire, and also 3 copies of slumber. We have 2 more Runick spells. One is dispelling, and for space reasons I'll put it down below here, and one is smithing storm, which leaves us at 17 quick play spells, 2 fountains, so 19 Runick spells in total, which is basically half of our deck, which means we have not that much space for another engine, even 2 engines, and then some non-engine stuff as well. So, we'll get to it though. So for the White Forest cards, this is very slimmed down for White Forest engine. I will talk about why and which cards we should play. We're playing triple LZ, triple Sylvie, and this is something that I would never do in a White Forest deck. We're playing 1 copy of Rusia. This card in White Forest I think is quite bad. I've talked about it plenty of times. This is not a great card. It's not a starter. It of course can be a valuable extender, but I think you should play other cards instead. The cool thing about it in this deck though is you want to get to your level 6s, and we're playing multiple of them. We're not playing just the Silvera and the Arciela. We're playing a bunch more, and any of these Runick spells in combination with Rusia means you get to level 6 because you can summon out Hugin. And another cool thing you can do is Rusia's draw effect is actually good in this deck because you want to get your Runick spells into the graveyard, draw into more of them. This is actually not a bad card in this deck. It's actually good. Before I always used to run it at 2 because Sylvie is still strictly better, but we have to play some more White Forest cards that we're lacking the space of. Also on 1 only, before I used to run at 2, is Woes of the White Forest. This card is very good in this deck. It's a free discard outlet for our Runick spells with Hugin in order to search the fountain, and that is very neat. It sucks a lot to draw this with Sylvie because Sylvie then isn't a searcher, right? Doesn't do anything. It's just a vanilla tuner body, which is okay. So you might want to run 2 copies of this, but we're already at 41 cards. With Runicks you want to be always at 40, so you draw your good Runick cards, right? You want to see them, and we don't want to run more of the weaker quick play spells like Dispelling or Smithing Storm, or even worse, Gold Droplet, which is just the stun card, right? So that's something to consider. The reason why I had to trim this down, we're not playing simple spoil stuff, we're not playing Azamina stuff. The extra deck is way too tight, the main deck is too tight. Especially if we still want to run the Bestial combo variant, which I prefer, which I really like. It's one of my favorite decks. Still have to play the Diabell stuff, and that is 1 Vengeance, 1 Diabell's, 1 Filiate Diabell, and 1 Diabell's Curse. Diabell's Curse, if you draw this, discard it for Hugin, life is good. It's perfectly fine. If you draw Diabells, you always have spells to send. And this mini engine is very powerful. It's very good. For our Bestial package, we have to trim this down slightly as well. We're playing 2 Lebellion. In my old version, I always used to run 3. Side 2 copies out going second. And now we're playing 2 in the main. 1 Magnamut, of course, as our best Bestial. 1 copy of Druisworm. 1 draw Baldrake. I still don't have the Starlight Serenade because it's way too expensive. And then Branded Regained. These are 38 cards. We have space for 3 non-engine and a card that I always like to run with this deck, and we need some traps, right? We need some traps because of the Diabell's Vengeance. We want to be able to summon it back. We run triple evenly. It is good into Q-Tune actually right now. I talked about this before in my branded deck profiles and my White Forest deck profiles. Q-Tune RS is just main phase only. They can put up the Zalen as another negate, but you can basically dodge the Zalen with your Runick spells, which of course means then you have 2 cards on board. It's a little bit more annoying, but it forces at least some interaction, and the Q-Tune RS is just the main phase only. So that is quite a good card. And if they're not on the Zalen yet, or you can shut it down, that's good. What you just have to be aware of, you can only use your Runick spells starting with the battle phase then, because you go draw, standby, main, end of main, battle. Then you can play with your Runicks to out some of the annoying cards on the board. You can even force out the Zalen with Freezing Curse or Flashing Fire, right? This plus one of these 2 forces the Zalen, and then on resolve you can just go evenly, right? Works perfectly fine. It used to be the same playing into the Snake Eyes Fiendsmith board, or any Fiendsmith board that was running Desiree at the time often. You would have the Runick Destruction, which forces the Desiree because you want to pop the sequence, and then you can just do the evenly, but you have to do all of this in the battle phase. Very important. And this is still true for any Fiendsmith deck that might come up putting out Desiree. This could happen with Elf Node, this could happen with Magnet Warriors, this could happen with Mitsurugi, some Yami Piles, right? Be aware of that, and then evenly cooks. So this is the main, let's get into the extra. The extra deck is a little bit scuffed still. I say this a lot in my latest videos, but I think it's pretty set for the most part. What we definitely need is at least 2 copies of Hugin. Anything less is ugh. The reason why 2 will usually be enough is because we can recycle them with Branded Regained. If we have one in our graveyard, just banish it with your own Bestials, shuffle it back, draw a card, you're looking good. And if its protection effect is used, which helps us against all the breakers in the format, you can shuffle it back with Regain as well. We're just playing right now 1 copy of Jerry. Then we have our Synchros, the Silvera, the Arciela, and of course the Diabells as our White Forest Synchros. We're playing 1 copy of Q-Tune RS, because I would like to have 1 negate. We're not playing the Azamina stuff, so we're not getting to Ilya, Sylvia, and Dragoon. We're not getting the Diabells, the Trap, the Silvera, right? Simple spots of Turtle Silvera as a negate. We're not doing what White Forest does with popping out multiple negates. This we can summon off the Diabells, otherwise we will not be able to summon it. It has its Floodgate effect, I talked about this before, and it has its main phase only Hot Red Dragon Archery in the Abyss, targeting negate on the board by banishing 1 tuner, which will be our Sylvia or Rusia. And with Regain on the board, that's just a free draw, right? Which is very nice. Other level 6s, I talked about it. We're playing 1 copy of Coral Dragon and 1 Tri-Edge Master. These 2 cards are very important. Sometimes you will just not need the Arciela. I think she's more important now than in the Opal, because we're playing the Diabell engine. You want to search Diabells, because usually you don't necessarily need LZ, right? You just go normal summon Sylvie, search Woes, play with your Runick and your Bestial cards from there, and you don't really need the rest of the White Forest engine. But since you're playing the Diabell engine, it is very powerful. You want to be able to use this. Additional synchros, level 10s, this daddy. Chen Ying and Chaos Angel, all of them mandatory. This Pater is insane in this deck. It's an M-board piece, it's a combo piece. It basically does everything you need in this deck. It is very, very important. It's a monster negate, it's a monster pop against Q2. You can even decide to just pop the monster they summon or normal summon to search, pop the card. That might even be enough, right? Just a Flash and Fire if they special summon something out with their normal summon. Very good. We're playing Typhon, the Gooski, the incredibly annoying Taper, and then the final card is the SP. What might be some changes? I tried, as I said, this exact list. I didn't make any changes to it. One card that I would like to play is the Centurion Legatia, because often enough you will end up with these two on board, or you will end up with your Lebellion at the level 4 on board because you distributed your Dispater for Lebellion, put out the Regain. Lebellion is a dead body. Maybe you can synchro into the Legatia, get another draw, right? Cards to cut might be Typhon, but this is actually not too terrible into Kill Tune because the monsters get very big because of all the tuners in graveyard. Boguski might be another option. You might be able to cut this, and another option instead of RS is Zalen. So either of those two might have to make way for Legatia, and the Kill Tune RS might make way for Zalen because it's very easy to use in this deck because we have infinite quick play spells, right? It's very easy to get its effect off. We also have the Sylvie in the graveyard to trigger in order to get the negate life. Very neat. That's it for the extra. Let's have a look at the thrown together side deck. The side deck starts with Triple Fuvalos. I do not want to see this card in the main deck of a Runick deck because you don't want to see it. It's a dead card and Runicks don't like dead cards. But going second, it is fine. You can side it in. It's okay. Depending on the matchup, I like to side in more Bastils. So we have another Baldrake and another Saronir. All the other ones are obviously limited. You could even, for going first, theoretically side in Lebellion, but I think there are better going first cards in this deck specifically, even to increase your consistency. Duster, Lightning Storm, and then we're already getting to our going first cards. One engine that I really like right now and that I think is even better in this type of deck is of course the Triple Radiant Typhoon Vision, and I think kind of mandatory with it, the singular MST. Good going first, can be good going second, though siding in this deck is very weird because you don't really have a lot of flexibility. What you will do, I will show you that in a second, but what you will do going first is just replace the Evenlies pretty much, and if Bastils are weak in the matchup, you will trim them down or maybe cut them completely for some of your other non-engine. But what you will definitely do going second is you side out some of your Bastils. If they're good in the matchup, you just side out 1 to 2 Lebellion, usually just one. You will side out some Runicks and you might side out some White Forest stuff. But that's really it. Another going first card is Scourge of the White Forest. This is our negate going first. It can be very important against breaker decks, right? If you can put up a negate or if your Hugin can protect, then this might be important. And we can play a stupidly strong Floodgate with our Synchro Focus and very easy access to Synchros. We can play Gravity Collapse. This card is... You could also play Grizel Prison against Kultun specifically, but I think the Gravity Collapse is a even stronger Floodgate. What you could also do for going first, especially if Bastils aren't strong, you could replace the 2 Bastils in the side with 2 Foolish Burial Goods, so you have basically 5 copies of this and add this back with Diabolus, and then you just basically win on the spot. That's how it does work. So yeah, let's talk about some siding patterns. Very simplified, but that's the side deck for now. I might just actually replace them with 2 Foolish Bear Goods now that I'm thinking about it, because this is stupid. Getting access to this is very stupid. The going first siding patterns are the easiest to talk about. The main card that will come out is of course you place it off evenly matched, and you can easily replace this, depending on the matchup of course, with your Gravity Collapse or your Triple Radiant Typhoon Vision, because 3 draws is always very, very nice. 3 draws with this card is insane in this deck specifically, because you will always have quick play spells, and even if you have a crazy hand that doesn't, the likelihood of not drawing a quick play spell should be minuscule. So this is a good card to side in. And the other cards that you can side out are really, if the matchup is bad, you will side out Bestials, right? You will side out even the whole package or just the minimal package because they help you combo. They're good, right? To make your end board bigger. But you can just, if need be, live without them. Going second, it's a little bit different because then the cards that we could side in look very different, and the cards that can be sided out are way bigger, way more. Correct. I will side out the Dispelling and the Smithing Storm for sure. These are definitely not necessary going second. I also like to side out one copy of Rebellion and even the Branded Regained if need be. You can debate to side out the second Rebellion, even though I don't like that very much. And as I said before, if the Bestials are weak in the matchup, you just trim that down, right? You maybe keep in the Serenity and the Magnamut to combo, but side out 2 more copies, right? That could be something you can do. I think Rusia just goes out, and same is true for Woes. I think the Sylvia is just better, or you can keep in the Rusia because the level 4 bodies are more important, and then just side out the LZ. But if you side out Woes and you don't side in another White Forest card, then I think, just considering, you could actually cut Sylvie before you cut Rusia. Maybe you just want to play them at 2 and 2. That's something to consider, right? Because we play little targets. So these are already 6 cards, and as I said, the side deck really depends on which deck you're versing, right? Maybe it's good to side the Charmies, right? And then you side in probably Duster, Lightning Storm, and if the Biscuits aren't strong, you can even go for the Vision package, right? There's just very, very matchup dependent, and as I said, this side deck isn't very much worked out. I would have to test against all the different decks in the format and see which ones this deck is inherently strong against and which ones this might struggle against, and depending on which one does which, we need to adapt the side deck for sure. Always also adapt this to your locals, right? That is something important. So that's it already. I try to keep this one a little bit shorter compared to my prior deck profiles because I don't think we need to go in depth with this as much. If you want to see some test hands, some combo tutorials, let me know. But you can also check out the old ones that I made for this deck, because except for the Diabell engine, not a lot has changed with the main deck, at least, right? And some of the extra deck parts. That's something you can check out, still on the channel, of course. And I will take this deck to locals, but only after Nets is over, because before I want to focus strictly on Bandit, learn the matchups better, improve my gameplay with it, and change the deck list still. And then afterwards, I will take this baby to locals, and I will win. I promise. Maybe. We'll see. So that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have some spicy ideas for this deck, because I really want to make it work again. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you feel like it, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. That always really helps and motivates me. And that's it for today. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.